today's science lesson on for um, the atmosphere, lesson two. It says lesson two here. It should actually it says lesson seven. It should say lesson seven. Talking about high pressure systems, low pressure systems, and how wind actually forms. Um, when we started the class today, we started talking about what makes happy weather and what makes lousy weather. And we came up with ideas like happy weather, sunny, no clouds, light wind, maybe some wind. Lousy weather, we came up with cloudy, dull, dark, rainy, misty, stuff like that. Then we started talking about in class about hurricanes. We talked about Hurricane Andrew. If you think about lousy weather, that was a really bad day. That was back in 1992. You guys were probably, I don't know, not even born yet. Um, but it basically just said that Hurricane Andrew formed over the ocean over Africa. Warm ocean air, moist air came up, and this hurricane formed, and it came across the ocean and hit the United States, just and did some serious damage. Um, Here was a picture, a satellite picture of Hurricane Andrew on August 25th, 1992. Here's the eye of the storm right here, but this whole storm was hundreds of miles across all the way. You can kind of see the rain bands, and it was a really huge storm. Um, Now, if you look at this animation with high pressure and low pressure systems, um, it's quite interesting. You can see a low pressure system and a high pressure system. The way this works, if you can kind of see all these little uh, air molecules moving, um, high pressure system, these guys are dropping. It's heavy air. It's really compacted and really tight together. All this, lots of high pressure putting together. But you'll notice that these guys are trying to sneak across into the low pressure system, where the air is lighter and the particles are farther apart. And there's actually are rising particles. Low pressure air, the molecules rise because they're lighter, they're less dense, they're just a lighter material. Whereas the high pressure system, there's lots of it's heavier air particles, and there's lots of particles. High wants to go where low is, because there's more open space. It's like us in the stadium. When we have to leave the stadium, I don't like to be compacted in with 50,000 people. I don't want to be someplace where there's not a lot of people, and so that's what these particles do. They want to get someplace. They want to get to that lower pressure system. So um, things to kind of remember about high pressure and low pressure system. H stands for happy. When you see it on a weather map, you see an H on a weather map. It stands for happy weather, high pressure, heavy sinking. Notice all the H's. L stands for lousy weather, low pressure, light air, rising. On a happy weather day, on a high pressure day, the air is heavy. It's dry. There's no rain. And since there's no rain, um, it's going to be it's going to be a nicer day out. Dry, dense air sinks underneath moist air. Air molecules are tightly packed and dense, so that they stay close to the ground. Dense air tends to be cooler, so that's why it'll be usually a little bit cooler air with high pressure systems. Um, Whereas lousy weather, low pressure systems, the air is so moist and it's full of moisture, it's humid air. Um, the air pressure is less dense than the high pressure, or the low pressure air is less dense than high pressure air. Heat from the sun causes those molecules to be excited and spread apart. They take up less space. It becomes lighter and they begin to rise. Low pressure tends to be associated with warmer air because of that less dense feeling, or that less dense amount of energy in the air molecules. High and low pressure systems, they do affect our weather. You look at any weather map and you'll see that if there's a high pressure system, you usually have a nice day. Like today happens to be a very nice day. We're kind of in the middle of a high pressure system, but starting tomorrow, we are going to have a lot of lousy weather for the next couple days because of a low pressure system coming in. Um, with this difference of high and low pressure, we do get to see some breezes, these sea breezes. And this animation right here shows how sea breezes happen. During the day, um, you can see that um, you've got this breeze that blows in from the sea or from a lake. Um, Land heats the air above it, and it rises. As it rises, it cools. As it cools, it it ends up becoming clouds are forming, cool, heavy, high air. Well, that stuff sinks again, um, and when it sinks, um, it goes over the land or over the water again, and then it gets blown in because high wants to go to where low pressure is. Where it's heated down here, it's low pressure. Where it's cooling out here, it's high pressure. High pressure wants to go right where the low pressure is. Now, notice what happens here at night. It does the exact opposite. The land cools, so that becomes low pressure. The water's warm, so it warms the air above it, so that rises. Um, that makes that low pressure, and high wants to go where low is, so usually you have a breeze blowing out to the ocean during the night, but during the day you have a wind blowing in. That's why people go down to the beach during the summertime, is because you usually have a cool breeze, a cooler breeze coming in from the lake or from the ocean during the day, and then at night you have a breeze that's blowing out into the water. So that's why we have sea breezes. And when we start to think about high pressure and low pressure systems, um, they do these. You'll have to place these guys into their appropriate categories. In class, we did it in class. My file's getting kind of big, so I'm going to have to leave it right now. But hopefully you took notes. But we know that high pressure is more dense. Uh, Low pressure is less dense. Uh, High pressure sinks, low pressure rises. Um, Molecules moving counterclockwise, low pressure. Um, Molecules moving clockwise, high pressure. So hopefully that got us to where we need to be. I'm sorry I had to cut this a little short, but that's what it is. Have a good night. See you. See you.